This man was 99.99% paralyzed. He couldn't even move his eyeballs. But just by reading his micro-expressions, I identified the shooter immediately. But this one, he pulled the trigger.
What's your next trick?
The boy's defense attorney nearly burst out laughing when he heard this. He called it baseless nonsense. After all, how could a man who was completely paralyzed, unable to move a single muscle, not even his eyes, possibly identify a killer? But the very next second, the black teenager confessed to the crime right there on the spot.
You don't ask questions, you shoot. Went down before we even knew he was the police.
The thing is, I knew he was lying. The real truth was far more chilling than anything in his confession.
What the hell you...
A police officer was shot during a routine patrol. He was rushed to the hospital, left completely paralyzed, unable to speak, unable to move. To catch the shooter, the FBI had no choice but to bring me in Professor Cal, a deception expert. My specialty is reading micro-expressions and body language to expose lies with pinpoint accuracy. The chief asked if I could crack the case.
But the question for you is, can you read a man who can barely move his eyes?
I didn't answer. In all my years doing this work, I'd never faced anything this difficult. Fortunately, the police had apprehended 2 boys who fled the crime scene. No weapon was found, but both had gunpowder residue on their hands. The shooter was likely one of them. To get Nick to identify who pulled the trigger, I had to come up with a unique communication method. Right, Nick, are you 90 years old? Are you 30 years old? There. Right there. I noticed a change in Nick's pupils. Then, the 2 boys were brought before him with their heads lowered. Were these 2 boys there when you were shot? Nick's pupils contracted again, that was a yes. Next, I had the boys brought in one at a time. Did this one shoot you? When the first boy stood in front of Nick, there was no reaction. But when the second boy appeared, did this one shoot you? There it is. Both there when he was shot, but this one, he pulled the trigger. Under relentless pressure from the chief, the boy quickly gave up his story.
We were doing a job for
I told you don't have to say anything.
We were slinging drugs for T-Von, and as soon as this cop creeped up on us, you don't ask questions, you shoot. Went down before we even knew he was the police.
He's lying. I spotted the lie instantly. The moment the boy finished his statement, the corner of his mouth twitched backward, a telltale sign of satisfaction from a successful deception. That meant Trevor, the drug dealer you mentioned, had nothing to do with the shooting. So who was really behind this? Who had enough power over this kid that he'd rather frame a dangerous drug dealer than tell the truth? Little did I know, the person I was about to face would shape me to my core, something that almost never happens to someone as composed as me.
You know, prison's too good for you, mate.
Even though I knew Trevor wasn't the mastermind, I still took some officers to his apartment, the same building where Nick was shot, hoping to find some clues. And the problem was, we didn't know which unit he was in, but I figured it out with just one observation.
Where are the cops? It must be strip searched.
Right, there's your apartment. It's the first one down on the left.
And how do you know that?
If you put a drop of water in front of a swarm of ants, you know, they'll avoid it because they think it's dangerous. Kids did the same thing. They steered clear of that apartment. Probably for the same reason. Avoiding danger is a basic survival instinct. The kids in the building were deliberately steering clear of one particular door. That door had to be where the danger was. Sure enough, when we knocked, an agitated Trevor poked his head out, looking ready to take us all down with him. Faced with this volatile situation, I didn't panic. Instead, I came up with a clever trick.
Captain James, this is Officer Lightman. We got SWAT outside. The sniper has the subject inside through the south window.
You have 3 seconds. Put the gun down. Put it down.
It worked like a charm. Trevor was so spooked that he surrendered immediately. Just as I suspected, Trevor had nothing to do with the shooting, but he did give us a crucial lead. At the time of the incident, he heard shouting coming from the apartment directly below him, followed by gunshots. Then he looked out his window and saw 2 black teenagers running out of the building. I verified that everything Trevor said was true. The chief immediately realized that whoever was arguing in that downstairs apartment might have witnessed the shooting, so we got the landlord to help us knock on that door, but no one answered. That's when I noticed a little girl sitting on the stairs nearby with a strange look on her face. I walked over to ask her some questions. What's your name?
Olivia.
She seemed extremely nervous. Maybe she knew something.